So, something I've been thinking about, and I done a video, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, which was the 3rd, I believe it was, I think. I know the day's the 8th, but I labeled it Raising Awareness Help for Disability Programs. And I break down the dark side of things the best I could in that video, and I will be linking that video with an end screen video for this video on this channel, because that video is on my ChEDDErTarY 931 channel. This is a topic for me that hits close to home, and it is something that needs to be done, because in that video I talk about people think that, there's these programs out here to help people with disabilities of any type, and there's not. People think there is, and there's not. And the ones that are out there, they are not meant for what they're supposed to be meant for. There's a lot of really bad things that take place behind closed doors. So again, check out that video when that pops up during the end screen, so you guys can get a better understanding of why I made this video. So I want to not just have people see this video, I want people to share this video, just like I want people to share the other video as well. And I know I've done videos talking about this, for so many times, and each video I try to add something, a little bit new, with a little bit of information to not just share my story, but to really raise awareness. And if I had the fundings, and I believe with the help of people, if we get enough money together, I want to start a program, an actual program that will help anybody with disabilities so they can have an, end quote, normal life. Because there's no more resources for people with any type of disabilities out there at all. There's no resources. And people think there is, when in actual reality, sadly, there's not. There's no resources. There never has been resources. But I want to make sure, I want to be the first person that's going to have a resource, a solution to things. And for other companies to help get involved. For me, I struggle with learning disabilities. I struggle through the act of depression and drug use once upon a time in my life. I think for the first step of the program is to really train people who have been through similar things, even when it comes to helping the disabled as well. And I just don't want to grab people who went to school for nursing and psychology and just say, hey, you want this job? I don't want to do that, because these are people that have never had or lived or seen the experiences such as this. These are people who are just going to work to get paid and not really truly do their job or care about their clients. I don't want that. I want to take people who have went through it, people that have seen it, people that have experience, and people who want to help others, and to fully train them with psychology and medical and teaching skills. That way they can take those skills of their experiences in order to help others. With me, it was several different things, but to separate it into categories, because you're going to need to be taught by several different people throughout this program, and also to get some proper or decent help. If you're somebody that battled with drugs in your life, and you have some type of disability, I think there needs to be somebody there who wants to help this person get cleaned up, stay cleaned up. Also, make sure that they're just not getting messed up on their medication. So the person will have to have some type of a medical knowledge, nursing skills of some sort. Also have somebody to help manage this person's money rather than hitting up the dope man. And also have somebody who is going to listen, to be a psychiatrist, but somebody, again, who has not just had the training, but somebody who has had the experience, so this individual can have somebody to talk to about this, and to also be available for that person if the others ain't available, just in case this person's feeling down. They can be with them, they can take them out somewhere, they can look around, they can be able to get out. I think with the next step is something that I suffered through and I still go through till this day. It's something to do with learning disabilities, right? So I know what comes with that. I feel like they need, again, somebody who's willing to be able to help them with a bit of reading, their writing as well. Somebody who is going to help them, get around, such as, okay, if you need food, we can go get you some groceries and teach them how to cook. Or if they may not want to cook, you can find someplace fast and they can do that as well. I also want somebody to also have, again, the financial training to make sure that their money's not just going towards bullshit, but to make sure they have some money in their pockets, to make sure their phone's paid, to make sure their rent's paid as well, and to help them, get their medications, also help them with, their doctor visits as well, and somebody to really keep files when it comes to the medical, and try to keep as much documents and proof as possible, because the doctors, when it comes to people with disabilities of some sort, and again, I've been through it, they don't want to help. They just want to say, they'll have you do like these bullshit tests and then call you back, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you. when that's completely bullshit, because you know what's wrong with you. You know what's going on with your body, and you know the help that you need. And a lot of it, when it comes to the medical, right? Because right now I'm on pause with the learning part and focus right now on the medical. I want there to be somebody in the medical field who is going to be interested and listening, and somebody, again, who has worked with people like this, who have had experiences, people who they know who have died because of these complications, because they weren't receiving the help they needed, all because the doctors turned them down because of several different things. Some may have to do with race, and the most of it has to do with their financial background, because a lot of people like me with certain disabilities, right, or people with any disabilities, are going to have a bad financial background. That's because with the most of our lives, we were surrounded by people who didn't give a fuck about us. They only wanted to be around us to feel pity or to use us in some sort of way. Because let me tell you something, my doctor don't care for me. She's East Indian. I'm Native American, which is, pretty much North Indian. I'm also part black as well, so I'm a black, red Indian. And on top of that, I feel like she ain't trying to do her job to help me the way she needs to be because of race, and also because of me having a bad financial background, somebody who's in debt. And I need somebody in the high medical field to really batter up, step up to the plate and really get the medical full help that these people need, because it's important. It's important that this happens. Also, going back to the other subject again, when it comes to learning disabilities, is therapy. Because let me tell you something, man. There was, these people with learning disabilities go through a lot of rejection from their school life because of them being judged and ridiculed for it. Wasn't received the proper education. And this is something, I talked about so heavily in past videos when it came to, something that I found out, how I received a fake diploma and through a three-way conversation with hard-hitting evidence. Because I know how that affected me mentally. Because when people like me, when we find out these things and when we get judged for it, we're looked at as disappointments and failures to others. So it needs to be somebody, again, with the psychological part of that, with therapy. Going back to the management thing as well, you want to give them an option, man. Look, would you like to get your GED? It may be expensive. That's why you're going to need somebody there to help you with the financial part, and also have somebody to help you with the education part, to help you throughout your work. Because in today's world, you need to have some type of education, some type of degree just to get a job within today's new work standards. It wasn't like how I was born and growing up and the generation before me, where, they didn't care about you having like full 12 years of schooling or a college education of some sort. They didn't care. You could still, go out and get a job, but today, it's no longer like that. And like I said, I've done videos, about that here on this channel and on my other channel, and I'll try to link most of that into the end-screen videos for people to check out, and to also link some in the description below as well, because those videos till this day are still very, very much are of importance, and also to help raise awareness, especially to parents who have kids with learning disabilities, because you want to make sure that you have a backup option for your child, because this is going to happen. I remember in 2013, they got rid of the special education programs for so many years, and about almost 2.5 years ago, they put them back in. The reason why they got rid of them was to save money from the government, which is stupid. Because I guarantee you this, and I talk about this in the video that I uploaded, I think yesterday, that will be again in the end screen video. I talk about, if you do your research, you're going to find that there's more dropouts in high school than there are graduates. And most of those dropouts are people with learning disabilities. And I fully break that down in that video. And I can also tell you this. I think there needs to be some positive people within these people's lives, because there weren't hardly any positive people in my life. And I can tell you this, that landed me to become a felon 3 times, to have a record. And, luckily I got all that expunged, and it was mainly jail time for me, and a lot of people who were locked up when it comes to work in this scenario, with people that again go into learning disabilities as well. When it comes to that, we're in there because society rejected us and ridiculed us and judged us, and we fought for so much that we just gave up and just hit the streets, to end quote give money. And I know that sounds cliche, but that's the honest to God truth on how that really is. Especially with my experience when I was going through it. Right now I'm like 30 years old. I got several more months before I'm 31. So I have a lot of experiences, and I'm finally now sharing because I want to help raise awareness to anybody else that's going through this. I may not have the biggest platform. I may not have the biggest following. I may not have the biggest views. And what I do get, I feel like it is helping. Yeah, it may give some people something to talk about, because people like to talk about people. But that's them, raising curiosity to other people with awareness. And I know what it feels like not to be able to get work the way you want to get work. So you got to do other shit and do bullshit jobs that are underneath the table, which goes into the GED thing as well that I talked about. So we need something within those steps for a program to truly help these people to feel and also to succeed little by little within their life. Because, Rome, Egypt, they weren't built in a day. And some people get started late in life, but you want to be able to nip these problems the best you can before it's too late. Also these people who want to drive, they need to be taught. You want to make sure that they're not going to be cheated out their driver test, like I was. I was cheated out of it. And again, I talk about that in the video again that I uploaded, I think yesterday, on my ChEDDErTarY 931 channel. How I was judged and ridiculed by the clerk, and they cut me off at 5 questions, because of that. And I studied very hard for it. I got stressed out when I was studying as well. I memorized everything. I knew it wasn't going to be in order, but I memorized it. And I knew those first 5 questions I got right, but they cheated me. So you want to make sure that there's somebody there for these people who are not going to be getting cheated as well. I also feel like within the living steps of this program that needs to happen are people with actual experience with cleaning, such as hygiene, cleaning with apartment houses, and being able to cook, to really teach people with disabilities, to clean, to take care of themselves, to cook as well, because that's important. And it's important to me. It's important to me And I used to be a janitor, right? So I know how to dust, I know how to clean. I don't know how to cook. I do know how to clean myself when it comes to hygiene. The problem I have is with my scalp, is why I don't have hair as much anymore, plus the scalp disease as well. And we feel like, I really want people with actual experience in those fields to help people with disabilities in such a program within a mannerism of that, because it needs to happen. It needs to truly happen. And the next step, I'm not sure what the next step would probably be for that, but these are just, I feel like they're the most important. In people's lives with that, especially with children, because yes, I think the last part when it comes to children, right, something that I have seen, something that I have been through myself, was the abuse and the neglect, all because of learning disabilities. And with children, you're gonna have parents that are not gonna be around for so many years because of drug use and the shame of having a child like that. That's what happened to me in my life, at a young age. The child care services, when I finally tried to speak to someone about it, the child care services, when it comes to the law part of that as well, they do not care, because you're dealing with somebody who has disabilities, so they're going to look at them like, oh, they may not be telling the truth because of certain disabilities. And there's only so much a person can handle and take until they choose to speak out. So they're going to look at them like, okay, there's nothing really here, and they're going to believe the parents. Oh, it's not happening. We need somebody within the actual law field, somebody within the actual system of care services when it comes to children, to really dig into the background of these people, to really have a child psychologist as well. Because I can tell you this, the reason why I was always ignored, why I always looked at like a liar, is because of several things, and it still happens till this day. Even with people around me who I seen. I had a best friend at the time who I don't even think is alive anymore. And I'm going to use him as an example. The child services, they don't care. The law system with that, they don't care, especially when it comes to disability with abuse to children. 1, because they come from a poor background. 2, is going to be race. 3, they're going to be heavily ignored, and the problem's going to escalate to death, or those children growing up to find themselves living a life of crime of some sort. And society has failed them. We didn't fail society. Don't ever think, oh, well, didn't you all fail society? No, we didn't. We're some of the most hardest working people who get ignored when it comes to it. But I can tell you, there needs to be actual digging in that section of that step of that program in order to save a child's life who's going through that, even with having some type of disabilities. I feel like if I would have had that help, guess what? I actually would have became something in my life. And to me, that is the final step of this program that I feel like truly needs to happen. And people that see this video, please, just please don't help me get involved in something like this. That being said, I'm out. Peace.